Hello, and welcome back to the Business of Happiness podcast. Hello, you're in the right place. If you are a woman in dentistry, my name is Dr. Tarryn McCarthy, and I'm here today to tell you that today is going to be a great day. Every single day has the potential to be a great day. And before you hit next on your podcast list, because it feels so frustrating to hear positivity and empowerment and optimism when you're feeling down, I'm going to offer you this. Every belief you have is just a thought you keep thinking. And when you start to change the way you think, you change the way you see the world. And when you change the way you see the world you're looking at changes. It is one of the most powerful truths. And today, I want to talk about how to start implementing that shift intentionally in your life. I was thinking the other day about a client who I was talking to, and she said, Tarryn, it is so hard right now to get good help. It is so difficult to hire people who want to be there, who are reliable, who show up reliably, who have good work ethic, who are able to perform the jobs and the tasks that I want them to do, and someone who I can trust. And what I keep hearing over and over again from business owners and leaders in dentistry is that the market has made it so difficult that we have to pay so much money. The cost of hiring someone is so exorbitant, and it's so hard to find someone. And what's really interesting is when we come to action from a place of fear or doubt or anxiety or thinking that there's not enough out there, it impacts our behavior, and the behavior impacts the outcome. Bear with me. It's not the action that's giving you the results. It's the intention and the energy behind the action. And this is where thinking positively and changing the way you look at things matters so deeply, especially in dentistry and really in your entire life. This is where having positive intention really impacts the outcome. Let's play with this scenario for a little bit, because I've been there. I have been there in those exact shoes as a dental business owner thinking, oh my gosh, there's just not enough. What is going on? I think the language at the time I was using was blaming the generation of women, mostly women who we hire, who were in the pool of people applying for positions in the practice. And we always find a reason to blame or to feel frustrated, always fueling that negative emotion. There's just not enough people out there. They're too demanding, the economy, whatever you want to blame it on. But I remember hiring from that perspective. Somebody gives their 2-week notice, and what's the first thing that happens? We go into a place of fear. So many reasons to feel fearful. Thoughts that would go through my head are, oh my gosh, this is going to interrupt. I have a full schedule booked, and now we all have to work twice as hard. I'm worried about the other team members. How are they going to react? They're going to be working twice as hard because someone has to compensate for this person's position. And on top of that, I have to train them, and someone has to find the time to not only compensate for their tasks, but also train the next person. And it felt so overwhelming. Throw in there this perspective of there's just not enough good people out there. They're hard to find. They're impossible to find. I'm going to have to pay so much more money. And now I'm tacking on those fear-based statements and really feeding that belief system that there's not enough to go around, not enough support, and not enough money in the practice, and not enough time or energy. Look at all the sources of lack. It's that lack-based mentality that's really supported by fear. And this is the most important component of this message I want to share with you today is Every decision or choice or action or thought that we have is based in one of two energetic realms, either based in fear or in love. And you might be asking yourself, where is love coming into running a business? How does love come into dentistry? And I'm not just talking about the love that we give to our patients. I'm not even just talking about the love we extend to our team members. I'm talking about giving yourself love and giving the action and the outcome love. And that sounds so sophomoric when it comes to running a business, but it is actually one of the most powerful shifts you can make, is paying attention to, are my thoughts and my actions coming from a place embedded in love or fear? Am I writing this Indeed job description because I just got to get it off my plate and I'm worried about the time and I'm trying to just find anybody out there? And as I've heard from another person I was having a conversation with, she said, Tarryn, at this point, we're just trying to find warm bodies to fill the spots, butts in seats. I thought, oh my gosh, what a terrified position to take action from. And anytime we approach a situation from a place of fear, we dictate the outcome. Think back in your own lived experience. All the times when you rushed into something, when you chased something down because you just wanted to get it done with, because you were scared, because you were worried, because it was embedded in fear. And think about how that situation turned out. It could be something as small as having a conversation with someone, wanting to just quote unquote rip off the Band-Aid, or really approaching someone from a place of anger or frustration. Think about how that conversation turned out. Not only what was the result, but how did you feel about it? Because how you feel about it is much more indicative of what's really going to happen subsequently. How you feel about it. When you put something out there, let's talk about those Indeed job posts. And maybe you're not even writing them for your office. Maybe you've got someone on your team to do that, and that's great. But I'm just using this as an example. Think about any time you've put out a job opportunity and you were just rushing through and you just wanted to get it out there and you thought, oh my gosh, I just got to find someone. I've got too little time. I don't have enough money. So let me put a limitation on the number I'm going to put out there. Or maybe you don't even put a dollar amount because you're so scared that there's not enough people that if they see the dollar amount, they're not even going to apply. Look at all the moments that you're limiting opportunity for someone to find you. The language that you're creating in that post becomes something that's not authentic to you and also something that's not attractive. And that's not attracting the person you most want to have. If you want to invite someone on your team who is reliable and exciting and has a great personality and, really committed to excellence, somebody who will show up for you and engage your patients and be a team player, they're looking for language that really defines a practice and a home for them where they're going to feel appreciated, valued, that there's opportunity for them to grow and learn. That's the kind of language that you want in a job description, not one that's just get in here as fast as you can, right? And it's the energy that you put behind it. So how do we do this? Number one is awareness. That is the most important thing. Anytime you're having a conversation or taking action, being aware of the energetic state that you're in. Am I coming at this conversation from a place of love or fear? And it's always one of the two. Remember, anger is based in fear. Sadness is based in fear. Sometimes sadness can just be reminding us of how much love we have and we feel we're losing something, but the sadness really is in loss, which is fear that they'll never come back to you again. So allow yourself to recognize, what is this coming from? Is this coming from a place of fear? And when I'm sitting down to have this conversation, to take this action, to write this job proposal, to write this PowerPoint presentation, to talk to my husband, to talk to my wife, am I approaching this energetically from a place of love or fear? And is that love for yourself as well? And right there, we start to identify how little we are offering ourselves love in the situation. Let's go back to that example of a team member giving their 2-week notice. Loving yourself enough to realize, I'm going to be okay. Look at everything that I've grown so far. Look back at all the challenges that I have persevered through. Tarryn, you are doing a great job. And even that self-talk is so important. It is so critical because it allows you to see yourself. It allows you to give your mind the evidence it needs to remember, oh my gosh, I am worth loving. I am worth loving. This beautiful practice that I started, that I purchased, that I'm now a part of. This was my decision making. I care deeply about this, and I am capable of facing anything that comes my way. Loving yourself through that. Loving yourself enough to connect with somebody who is aligned. To write that job description from a place of, who do I know would be best for this practice? Not how can I just get butts in seats, but who could be the best person? And I'm telling you, those people are out there. They are hungry to find a place to work that values them, that has good, strong values. They are looking for it because that is the alignment that we need in order to have great success. Finding the people who are best fit for you. And that's where that positive, supportive mindset comes in, because it calms your nervous system and gets you to get back to what really matters. What really matters to your practice, what really matters to you. And remember, your values are infused in your practice. That's a really important point. And did those values that you established, that you have clarity on, we create our mission statements, we create the values for the practice, have those been created from a place of love or fear? Oh, isn't that a good one? And this is where I come back to that statement I made at the very top of the hour, and I do at every single podcast, is today is going to be a great day. I don't care if the day is thundering, if it's sunshine, if we're having a heat wave, if today I'm attending a funeral. I don't care if today my entire schedule falls apart. Every day has a potential to be a great day. And that mindset is not toxic positivity. It is love. Love enough for me to know that I can navigate anything that comes my way. Love enough for me to know that any action that gets taken in the day, even if I make a mistake, is an opportunity for learning. Even if something happens to me that I really would prefer not, it gets to be a great day because it gives me new information, new data that I get to choose from a place of love. So maybe this podcast you're hearing today because you really needed a perspective shift. And maybe there's something either in your work or in your personal life that feels heavy right now. Maybe there's an action that you're avoiding, a conversation that you've been putting off that you know needs to take place. Maybe there's something that you're procrastinating or avoiding or running away from or rushing through just to tear that Band-Aid off. I'm going to invite you to take a moment and ask yourself, am I approaching this from a place of love or fear? Because it is not the action that dictates the outcome. It is the intention behind it. And every intention is based either in love or fear. And the way that we get back to love is asking ourselves, how can I love myself through this more? And that will look different for every single one of us. And it will look different for you at different times in your life, at different moments in the week, in different situations. And no one can tell you what that is except for you. No one can. So reminding yourself, you know what? Today is going to be a great day because I'm going to learn more about me and what I need to feel loved and supported and safe. Because here's the takeaway message I want for you today. And allow this to really sink in because you cannot hear it enough. You are so much more capable than you are giving yourself credit for right now. You are. And you have so much evidence in your life to show you that. And when you start to love yourself enough to recognize, oh my gosh, I am so much more capable than I have even been giving myself credit for. Hello, bravo. That is when you start to shift that tide from fear to love. As you go out into your day, let this be your theme. Whatever you do that feels challenging or difficult, allow yourself to come from this lens. And remember, when you feel good, that is when you can do good. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Business of Happiness podcast. If this episode brought you new perspective and value, I invite you to subscribe so that you catch all upcoming episodes and leave us a review. And if you know of a friend or colleague who could benefit from this perspective, share this episode with them and empower their day. For more information about the Business of Happiness and the Radical Happiness for Practitioners course, find me on www.thebizofhappiness.com. See you there.